Today I'm going to be talking about Alright, after 4 years, we finally get a second Black Panther movie, and the plot of the movie is pretty much this. The people of Wakanda fight to protect their home from intervening world powers as they mourn the death of King T'Challa. Alright, let's get into the good parts of this movie, and the first thing I'm going to say is the performances themselves. I thought Letitia Wright gave a very great performance as Shuri, and I really enjoyed Shuri's arc as well. I don't know what people have been saying about Shuri, but I did like the fact that she didn't instantly become Black Panther. If you've seen the trailers and promotions for Black Panther, you know Shuri was going to be Black Panther, but they don't instantly give her that title. It's not like T'Challa dies, which he does, and then they're like, Shuri, here you go, you're Black Panther. No, it actually takes over a year for her to be Black Panther through this journey of her grieving and her learning to become Black Panther or to take on the mantle, and I really appreciated that. Also, Angela Bassett as Queen Ramonda or whatever, like she's the queen of Wakanda now, and she was great in this movie. I thought that, I don't know whether or not she's going to get the Oscar nomination just because you know how, critics are with, or at least Oscar voters are with superhero movies, but if she does somehow manage to get that, I would be pretty happy because I don't like to use this word often, but her performance was pretty powerful. Also, M'Baku was kind of like the comedic relief of this movie, and honestly, I laughed at like most of his jokes. I thought he did a pretty good job as well. And also, I thought Namor, the person who played Namor, I don't know his name or the actor for M'Baku, so I'm just saying their character names, but Namor was pretty good as a villain. Would I say he's on the level of Thanos? No, he's not on that level. He's not on Loki level, but I did think that he was a pretty good villain for this movie, and it'll be interesting to see what they do with his character in the future. Another good thing that I liked about this movie was the tone and humor of this movie. I've said this for Thor Love and Thunder, and I've just said it for most of Phase 4 in general. There has been way too many overstuffed jokes in these Marvel movies, and I like that this movie was actually serious and actually had stakes that I cared about instead of just being a joke every 5 seconds. Don't get me wrong, there's still jokes in this movie, but nowhere near as much as the other Marvel movies have had. Another great thing that I'll say about this movie is the score for this movie, especially the score for the Atlanteans and Namor score. I thought that was very well done. And although I prefer the first Black Panther score, I thought that this one was pretty good as well. Another good thing that I'll say is the action scenes in this movie were very, very good. One of the better Phase 4 action movies, I guess you could say. Shang-Chi, I think, is a bit better, but I thought this movie had some really great action scenes, and I was very, very well surprised by that because overall, the action in the MCU has become a bit oversaturated, and I like the fact that this movie didn't feel like that. Also, the third act battle I actually really enjoyed as well. It's probably my second favorite third act from an MCU movie from Phase 4. Also, I thought Riri Williams was pretty good. I've seen a lot of people haven't really liked her character that much. That's the only thing I've known from this movie. And although, yeah, I can kind of agree with that, I thought when she was just strictly, being a comedy relief character, I thought that she was pretty good. Once again, after seeing this movie, am I dying to see an Ironheart series? No. But I did like the way that they implemented her in this movie. And once again, it didn't feel forced. Just like most of the humor in this movie didn't feel forced at all. One more thing that I'll say before I get into the bad parts is the opening of this movie. Thor Love and Thunder also had a very strong opening, but this is something I didn't expect them to do. But the movie starts off with them showing, we don't see T'Challa, but we see like kind of what led to his death and that he dies of a sickness. I really didn't expect that. That actually really surprised me. And I thought it was really well done. And then when they had the, typical Marvel opening after that, and it's just like, you see all the Chadwick clips, and it's in like purple, and it's dead silence, no music. I thought that was very well executed. And it pretty much just shows the tone for what the rest of the movie is mostly going to be like. Alright, let's get into the bad parts of this movie. And the first thing I'm going to say is that I don't fully buy Shuri as the Black Panther. Once again, I liked her arc for the movie, but I feel like just for me personally, it's going to take a while for me to fully buy her as Black Panther just because of how great Chadwick Boseman was. Another thing that I had a problem with is, if you remember a couple of months ago when the first Black Panther came out, there was the whole recast T'Challa thing, and I personally was pretty neutral on the situation. But after seeing this movie, I can't help but think, what could have been if they had recast T'Challa. Because once again, Black Panther, you don't need me to tell you this, but Black Panther has a very rich story that has a bunch of crazy stories that we would have had potentially in the MCU, and the fact that they decided to kill off T'Challa's character means that we won't get that. And I don't know. It kind of feels like, although this movie is pretty good, you can definitely feel the void that, that Marvel decision did for this movie. Another bad thing that I'll say about this movie is, once again, this movie's pretty long. It's about 2 hours and 30 minutes to 40 minutes. It really didn't need to be that long. They could have cut 10 to 15 minutes. I think for most of the movie, the pacing's pretty good. But once we get closer to the end, the movie starts to, drag a bit and be a bit longer than it needs to be. The final thing I'll say before I give my score is a spoiler, so if you don't want to hear this, then just don't watch this part. But the final thing that I'll say is, once again, Angela Bassett was great in this movie, but it really didn't make sense for them to kill her off. I think that Okoye personally could have been a better death because she was willing to die for this country, and they already had removed her from being that, warrior. So if they had killed her, which was kind of what I was expecting, I think that would have made more sense. But for them to kill Angela Bassett after her having a great performance and the character just being really good, I don't know. It was definitely emotional and it caught me off guard, which is what it intended to do. But I feel like they just shouldn't have killed her. Plus, Shuri has gone through a lot. She loses her dad like years prior. Then she loses her brother, and now she loses her mom. This woman needs therapy, and she needs the best therapy that you could possibly provide for her. Overall, guys, do I think Black Panther 2 is better than the first one? I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen the first one. I'd have to rewatch it. But I will say that this movie is pretty good. It's probably one of my favorite movies of the year. And I think this movie's... The way that you enjoy this movie or don't enjoy this movie is going to come down to if you like the first one or not. But overall, I'm going to go ahead and give Black Panther 2 an 8 out of 10. Have you seen it? Let me know in the comments. And those are my thoughts on that.